bean. If you watch this later on, I just want to let you know you are definitely watching a live video. Y'all, this is my coffee corner in my work at home office, and I love to go live probably about 2 or 3 times a week. So whenever I get a chance, guys, I like to go live. Today, I'm super stoked and excited because y'all, I just passed 6,000 subscribers, y'all. 6,000 subscribers. I honestly, I'm a little blown away. I'm so stoked and appreciative of everyone who subscribed. And if you haven't already, definitely hit that subscribe button. If you're a coffee geek like me, you're definitely amongst your tribe. This is a place. This is a coffee safe place. There's no other way to say it. I probably obsess about coffee grinders and coffee beans and all that fun stuff way too much. My wife is always joking with me. I've been married 19 years this year. Is it going on 20? I think it is going on 20. My wife just celebrated her birthday, and I asked her to marry me 19 years ago as of yesterday. So, yeah, I think it's about almost 20. Yeah, goodness, crazy. Guys, hey, I am a complete coffee geek in every single way. Um, when my wife met me, I was very close to my days when I used to work at a coffee shop, and I got the coffee bug when I was in my 20s, and I was working in ministry at that time. I used to be a pastor many moons ago, not anymore, but very very long time ago. And I met a lot of cool cafe owners that would like donate their extra food, their time, and all that to help feed the homeless. Worked with the unhoused out in basically all over, everywhere from Los Angeles in Orange County, where I'm from, to New York City. I lived in New York City for about 2 years right after 9/11, and I just really had a great opportunity to hang out with people, and coffee was a big part of that journey. And that's why I call this channel Faith and Coffee Beans. So I definitely really appreciate you hanging out with me. Uh, like I said, I probably talk a lot more about coffee than I ought to, but I think that most of you might have that same problem. And if you do, you're in the right spot. So, guys, I just want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed. 6,000 subscribers. That's crazy. Y'all, I'm just a little YouTuber guy. Uh, you know, really just a dad making coffee. This is my work at home office, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pull a couple shots of coffee today. I'm super excited because I got some good news too. But I just recently got these really cool coffee tools by Julek. And I did a video. If you haven't had a chance yet, go ahead and check out that full review video on them. They're really cool and they're crazy affordable. I really love it when companies make stuff that's really affordable because I'm all about let's do coffee at home and let's do it the most affordable way where you could jump into making coffee and learn how to have some fun, and you don't have to worry about breaking the bank because I think it's super important. That was my number one hindrance before with coffee. I was like scared of spending money and I didn't want to get too invested. Look at me now. Yeah, guys. Here's my hand grinder collection. So I did get some exciting news. I'm super stoked. There's a really cool company out there, and I have one of their cups right here. They are I don't want to mispronounce their name. Cochern, Cochern. I believe it's French. They have made this really cool hand grinder that is just awesome and epic. They came out with it just a couple months ago. They're going to send me one for review. Y'all, it is a conical burr grinder and it uses ghost burrs. So I'm super stoked. This has been my favorite pour over grinder. This is my Timor S3 and my probably favorite all around hand grinder that I've just really enjoyed so much is this Mavo Fantix Pro. Hey guys, thanks so much for joining. Hey Janelle, Guys, I just really appreciate it so much. I appreciate all the support and all the love that I've been getting. You guys, it means the world to me when you hit that subscribe button, you comment, and you kind of interact with me. Because honestly, this is the reason why I started this. I really kind of started it because, well, there's a lot of folks, like I said, who are doing really amazing, cool coffee channels. But one of the things that I always kind of felt a lot is that I wasn't seeing someone trying to budget out, and do it as cheap as possible. And guys, I think that's super important, So I always try to find stuff that's a little more budget, but occasionally there are some things. I don't think there's anything wrong with splurging on a grinder if you're gonna go ahead and spend a lot of money. Invest in your grinder. So that's what I'm really stoked about. I'm really stoked about getting the new hand grinder that I'm going to be getting a couple weeks or less, and I'm going to be doing a full breakdown and review video on it because it's epic. So y'all, today I am going to be pulling a shot with my Gemini Owl. This is the 3007L. This thing is crazy cool. This is one of the best budget machines possible. It uses a 58 millimeter E61 style group head. Today I have my iCap portafilter. Actually, yeah, is this the iCap? Yeah, it is. iCap portafilter and iCap 20-gram basket. This is a high precision basket, and I just got a new handle for it. So I'm stoked about that. This is really cool because this has a heating element that heats the portafilter that gives you that optimal temperature stability. So really, really cool stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure out some beans. I have not pulled a shot today, and it's late in the afternoon. And y'all, I need my shot of espresso. So the beans I'm going to use today, that I'm going to start off with, are actually, let's see what I got here today. I am going to start off with these, but they're not as young as I would like them to be. This is Good as Gold Donut Store. I'm a big fan of As Good as Gold because they're on, if you're in the States, they're all over Amazon, and they're very accessible. Guys, there's been a lot of stuff going on. If you haven't watched the news, I don't like talking politics. I'm not going to go there. But it is kind of a fact in the coffee industry that they're kind of dealing with there's a lot of news about prices going up because of tariffs. So, wow. I don't know if y'all have kind of seen things kind of picking up, but I have noticed the price of coffee going up a lot. So, because like I said before, I'm pretty budget friendly. I'm always about finding a good deal. And one of the things I really love is this is a roaster that's been around since 1969. I forget what state they're based out of, but they're awesome. And I really find that they give they're out of Massachusetts. Worcester, Massachusetts. I really feel like they're very sensible, and I do, most of the time I get really fresh beans with them. So that's kind of why I tend to use them most. I'm really showing you guys kind of what I'll drink in my everyday, So as far as specialty coffee goes, it's nice to get something that's very accessible, and it's a pretty good cost. They do have the roast date. This bag was actually not optimally roasted. This one was back in February, so that's what I'm saying. This might not be the Crema Beast, but it's going to be a good cup of espresso. It's not as new as I would like it to be. Most of the time when I get a bag from them, it's like been roasted 4 weeks ago. That tends to be the average. This recent one just happened to be a little bit older, and they're sending me a new bag. So I appreciate that. Yeah, it's so important to support your local coffee businesses and coffee shops. That's the other really big thing too, Yeah, so cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm reading your comment there. Yeah, seriously, coffee shop owners, they're the ones, people don't realize it, but a lot of the local roasters, they're the ones that are going to be affected the most over everything. I hate to say it, when it comes down to it, that is the truth. And that's kind of how I cut my teeth in coffee, personally. I started at an independent coffee house, and I've only worked at independent coffee houses, basically, ever when I was in college working as a barista. Okay, guys, I am actually going to be using, I was thinking about doing the 51, excuse me, the 64, but I think I'm going to go with the hybrid on this one just because I had it dialed in for these beans. And I want to make sure I'm at right where I was thinking I would be. Okay. So this is a conical burr grinder. I believe there's a 38 conical burr, 38 millimeter. Okay, let's go ahead and get these beans going. I just want to make sure I'm all clear. Yep. Alrighty. And I'm just doing a little bit of a slow feed method. I've been seeing a lot of really cool slow feeders. Hans had a bunch of them. There's a gentleman making them on Etsy. If anyone has one, let me know because I've been thinking about it. The problem is a lot of the grinders I get tend to be very budget forward, so they're not like the ones that are totally accessible. I've actually, guys, I'm so on the fence and I need some help. Okay, I really want to buy a DF grinder. That's like one of the things I have not got yet, and I want to know. And let me know in the comments what y'all think is the one I should get. I'm thinking about getting the DF54 just because it's the cheapest. And that's what, I try to always do is get the cheapest one. But I'm debating, do I go with the CF64 if I go 64? Do I go with 64 version 2? There's so many DF grinders out there. I was thinking about buying one from Espresso Outlet because they're awesome. I'm also kind of thinking about Me Coffee. So I kind of want, give me your suggestions because I'm totally open for it. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. There's been a lot of talks about producing coffee in the United States. Um, my home state originally is California, and I was born and raised there 40 some years ago. I live in Florida, and I know for a fact here in Florida there is a professor out of UCF who's working right now on growing coffee here in Florida. They're trying to figure out some stuff. In California, CNN just did this post about a California grower who's based out of my wife's home area, Ventura County, and anywhere where they can grow. Avocados. Yeah, I guess that's a good match. And I am all for that. I'm so curious. I want to see what they do. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm just curious. Yeah, it just stinks when you start hearing that. And it's hard because, coffee is such a big commodity. It's not like, you know, I would argue to say coffee is the lifeblood of everything, in my opinion. I know that a lot of the world drinks tea. My wife's a huge tea drinker. I love British style tea. I'm a huge fan of British style tea. I love London fog and all that stuff. But you can't take my coffee away from me. Coffee is my number one in the morning. And my coffee, oh, no way. I mean, come on now. So, anyway, don't want to lose my coffee. All right, so let me go ahead. Let's get this dosed up, and then we'll go ahead. Let me show you guys a little bit of the workflow. I'm going to show you some of these new tools I got here. And I hope I got this dialed in. Problem is, guys, I try a lot of coffees, and I'm constantly swapping stuff out. So on these lives, I've had issues with my dialing in, but guys, let me just tell you, I'm constantly just changing around my coffees. That's what it comes down to. I had a friend tell me I've got a couple grinders here. I need to just keep one like, hey, this is my light roast setting. This is my grinder for my light roast, and do it that way. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. See, that's the thing. You start messing with my coffee and I start getting mad. It's, I don't know. My wife's always joking around. Like I literally will obsess over buying beans, and sometimes it's a difference of a couple bucks for, a certain bag of beans. And she's just like, it's only a couple dollars. Why are you thinking about this for so long? But I'm that guy where I will watch every review video. I will read Reddit and get opinions and think things through. And sometimes it's too much. Even I've got to admit that. Sometimes it can be a little too much. So, okay, guys. So this is the new distributor. I'm going to go ahead and use that today. I already have it set depth-wise. This is a really good bargain. This distributor right here, I think they have it with promo right now for about $21 or so. Walnut up top. Very nice and heavy. It's got some heft to it. So I dig that for sure. Okay. So that is awesome. And then this is the new self-leveling tamper. Now, I like this tamper. It's awesome. I think for the price, you're definitely getting something good for your money. My favorite tamper that I've had so far in the last few months, and I'm going to keep recommending this. And guys, the only reason I'm mentioning this right now is that on Amazon, they're doing a promo where this thing is $23. And I'm working with iCap on getting a special promotion just for you guys. But this iCap tamper, this is their force feedback tamper. Listen to this. It has that built-in spring. I love the ergonomics of it being shorter. They do make a bigger one. I think I'm going to try to get the bigger one here pretty soon. Comes with a 30-pound and a 20-pound spring. This thing is just very well built. This is actually one of my favorite tampers I probably have ever had. And it's so weird to kind of gush about that, but this is another really highly recommended tamper I always recommend. This is my MH Bomber, and this is their force feedback. Another really good one. Very similar as far as things go, but I really just love this ergonomics of how short that is. It just fits really well in the hand. Y'all, it's awesome. I'm a huge fan, and for that price, if you're looking for a new tamper, seriously, go grab that one. Right now, it's crazy cheap. And I'm hoping I'll work out that promo code, because if it's on Amazon for like $21 right now, when they do these promo codes and they allow me to share it with you guys, it's like 20% off of whatever top of the promo too. So I'm stoked. It'd be really cool, because that's a cool one. I want as many people to try that one out as possible. All right, let's see here. Get this nice and locked in. Just realized I could have overfilled this a little bit. Huh, that is weird. Here, this is the problem with my coffee corner. I get pretty cramped in my space here. There we go. Oh, cool. Yeah, Simon, I'm reading your comment here. So you got the DO64 Gen 2. Oh, okay. So and you're basically in the Tuning G1 from Prime Day. Okay. So I have the Tuning G1 and I use it and it's awesome, but problem sometimes is I got a lot of budget grinder blindness, I guess, put it that way. But that's awesome. So you went to the DO64. That is awesome. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm really trying to figure out which one I should go with. If I should do the regular version 2. This is odd. I just swapped out the basket. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's because this basket was off a little bit. Yeah, I just swapped out the basket. So I think that's what was going on there. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and pull the first shot. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I've watched a bunch of the reviews on all the different ones, and it's kind of... I'm trying to really decide which one I want to get. And the hardest thing with me... I probably obsess way too much about it. All right. A little slow, but we're doing it. We're doing it. I was trying to get this one a lot finer. Like I said, I know these beans are older, so I was trying to go more fine. Yeah, a little longer than I like. I probably could go a little coarser. 19 grams, 40 seconds. Yeah, way too longer. But I'm going to go ahead and just stop it here at 30, and it's going to be way over, but that's fine. 27 and 49. That is way too long. Like I said, guys, I might have really had to dial that in, and that's what I'm going to have to do anyway. But yeah, I was actually, so I have the Chardor 64 millimeter flat burr where I've swapped out the multi-purpose burrs, and I have thought about getting the DF64 for the pure fact is I do want to kind of even try the was it the DL burrs that they have, the stock ones, or either the coated ones, kind of comparison to that. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, that's a strong shot. Oh my goodness. Woo! That'll put hair on your chest. Oh man, I could. Hey, I've got to try this. I've got to test this out because just for pure curiosity. Ooh man, talk about a strong mouthfeel. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and definitely get that coarser and dial that in a little bit because I got to redeem that. 16.87. Oh my goodness gracious, y'all. That's a lot. 16.87. Usually I try to shoot for about 12. So yeah, very over extracted, but hey. Hey, sometimes I like a good robust espresso. But yeah, I'm really tempted. I'm also tempted to swap, get maybe multi-purpose or HU burrs and kind of do like a head-to-head video. I think that would be pretty cool. But we'll see. You know, it's me making a decision on these big purchases usually takes a while. So that's kind of what I'm asking. If anyone has some advice, definitely leave a comment below. Let me know for sure. I'm very curious on was it better to go with the Gen 2.3 or go with the CF 64 DF1. All right. There we go. Let's try this again here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. This one's also, this basket is a straight through basket. So it does not have the curves in the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and use the same beans. We're going to go a little bit coarser. You know, and I did, the basket's rated for 20, and I actually only did 18. But what was kind of funny is I did find that when I put it into the basket, it did kind of bring it to the top a little bit more than I like. So what I'm wondering is, maybe I should back it off a tiny bit. Give a little more room. Maybe these beans expand a little bit more. Sometimes that's what you got to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do about a 17 and a half. Just trying to give it a little bit of headspace. So 17. Oh, goodness gracious. There we go. So 17.4, I'll take that. So I think it's about, I'm not going to push my luck on that one. Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know. My son was asking me about price of coffee and all that. And I'm just like, you know what? Like anything in life, we can't control it, so we got to just do our best. That's all it comes down to. There's some things, are beyond us, and got to sometimes figure out what's the way to get around that, I guess. If there is one. Oh my goodness. We're all gonna have to go to go raid what's that place? But my son sometimes and I will get coffee from there over in Canada. It's like their national coffee chain. Oh my goodness, it's escaping me right now. It's one of their big coffee chains. It's like our Dunkin' Donuts. Oh goodness. But yeah, guys, hey, if you're just joining me right now, I want to just say again a big shout out to everyone who subscribed. If you would have told me 2 years ago or a year ago, yeah, but 2 years ago now, that we were good, I was gonna have 6,000 subscribers, that would kind of blow my mind. Guys, for a long time, I barely had any subscribers, so it's just kind of cool. I really appreciate everyone hanging out with me. I don't say that very lightly. To me, it means a lot. I'm not some crazy big YouTuber, and guys, I'm be honest with you, I am not a coffee professional. I am a coffee home hobbyist, geek dad who thinks more about coffee than I should. I love watching folks like James Hoffman and Lance. And if you guys want an amazing person to watch, someone like Han or Tom's Coffee Corner, Morgan, I mean, goodness, Coffee Kev. There's some really amazing coffee YouTubers that I just blow my mind. And I've just learned a lot from. And that's one of the things I've loved about kind of getting back into coffee after not working in it, front line for a while. It's just really cool to hear. Also, a lot of the folks who are kind of that are like coffee influencers, they're not my generation, y'all. I'm in my mid 40s. I'm like an old dude now. So I know my kid would say, no, that's not old. But no, it is old when it comes to coffee stuff. So, I mean, when I was making coffee, it was like frosted tips in the early 2000s. So I like seeing, like, I remember the first time I heard about James Hoffman winning the barista championship, and I was like, wow, who's this guy? Just cool stuff. But I'm just saying, it cracks me up. It's definitely the folks working the cafes are a different generation, and that's cool. I like that. I recently was at a local coffee shop, and I was watching my barista pull my shot. I asked for espresso, and I asked for, if I could try a certain bean that they had, and they only had certain beans in the big hopper and their giant Eureka machine. And I was geeking out about it. And I was like, oh, how do you guys serve it? And I was asking all these questions. And then I realized, oh, crap, I'm that old guy. I'm talking to the young kid, and I wasn't trying to give him pointers or anything. I was like just trying to figure out how they were doing it, geeking out because they had a cool setup. Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's try this again. Definitely went coarser, about a couple different spots up. So the one thing I do find with conical is it is definitely more forgiving than doing the flat burrs for sure. Flat burrs, I mean, you go up about the same amount as I just did on this conical, and it could be night and day. So that's a big thing to kind of think about. I am going to go ahead and use my iCap distributor, just because I was realizing I was using that as my dosing ring anyway. This is a cool distributor. I have a couple of these distributors, but I dig this one because it's almost like it's modular, the way it comes off. See, there's magnets here on the bottom, but I end up using this as kind of my primary dosing ring a lot, just because it really holds on tight. They really did a good job with this one. So if you're looking for a circular distributor, there's is pretty cool. And it has this really neat base with a brush system. So once you put it in there, you just give it a little twirl, and it'll clean the needles right there. So that is awesome. Definitely dig that. And then this is the iCap gravity distributor. And this one actually has, it's done by magnets. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, the same promo that's going on right now for the tamper is for this one. So I think this one you can get for like 21, 22 bucks. Which is crazy. It's really good. It's a good deal. My Normcore I picked up for about 40. Okay. Nice and pretty. Love it. Okay, let's go ahead and put this up top. Definitely a big difference in that spacing. I could feel it. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's pull this shot and see where we're at. All right, just making sure I had a good clean glass. Yeah, if you guys didn't hear earlier, I'm going to be getting a new Ghost Burr hand grinder. It's a conical Ghost Burr hand grinder. I'm so excited about it, y'all. It's going to be really cool. I've never tried Ghost Burrs before, so I'm very curious, and I've been hearing a lot of really good stuff. So I'm stoked. I just got that confirmed. That's going to be sent out soon. All right, let's go ahead and pull this. Turn on my scale. All right, let's see how we did. Yeah, that totally came out way fast. What a difference. Oh my gosh, came out too fast. Let's stop that. Way too fast. Man, what is going down today? Tell y'all. It's either too fast or too slow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I tell you guys, I think the problem is I've just had too many grinders and I'm messing with the beans too much. Swapping out my beans and all that. That's kind of what happens. Yeah, and again, they just didn't really build a lot of crema. This is like if I was trying to show you guys how to do the complete opposite shots. Gosh. Oh my goodness. Yeah, guys. My goodness gracious. Going too far. Gotta love it. Let's give this one a little taste. It's not bad. But man, what a world of a difference. Just because the fact I'm going to show y'all the difference in these two different shots. I'm doing this for science. I'm doing this for y'all, so not what not to do, but just kind of the difference in when you kind of change around stuff. The biggest thing I always try to tell everybody who asks me, because every now and then I will get someone who purchases one of the machines that I've done a review on, and they'll say, well, I'm doing, basically the same thing you're doing, and I'm getting very different results. Coffee is just such a variable, so please don't ever beat yourself up over that or think you're doing something wrong. But it's also good to have really good coffee habits. There's definitely fundamentals. So let me just kind of show you guys, and this is on the refractometer. So this is the TDS of this shot. This shot, which was way too fast. Oh man, it just went away. It was a 10 point something or other. So that's kind of the difference. The other one was 16. So that's what I'm saying. It's like two shots, pretty close, but just completely different results. Now, I did use different gear. Okay. But the gear I was using isn't that different than each other. That's the truth. It all comes down to your grind size. It comes down to having a good grinder and where you have your grind settings at and kind of where those beans are at. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and I'm going to do this one last time. And y'all, I think I'm going to get it right this time. So I appreciate you hanging with me. I'm going to get this right. We're going to do this right, y'all, for sure. So let me go ahead and zero everything out, and we'll give it one more go. Yeah, and again, guys, the question I keep asking everybody, if you have a grinder you want to recommend to me, I think I'm going to buy another grinder sometime soon. I really would. I have yet to buy a DF grinder, and I really want to put a DF grinder next to this Chardor 64 millimeter flat burr grinder. This thing has just been a champ. There's no other way to say it. If you guys are looking for a budget grinder, that is awesome. I think the biggest question that I've heard asked a lot of times, well, the number one question I hear is the longevity of this grinder. So that's kind of what I'm curious about too. Lance Hendricks did an amazing video. I did a reaction video of it the day he put it out. But he did a really great video on this grinder that he got. He actually, I think he picked this up from Hungary. It was under a different brand, but it's the same grinder. Different markets use the same stuff called different things. It's the same thing. Gemini does it all the time. Gemini in Spain, the owl is definitely a different machine, but same. Everything else is the same. But he was talking about that. I really appreciate him doing that video because it really, the inner chamber is built very well. The outside construction is all plastic, and that's where you're getting the savings. So what I'm just kind of curious about is the DF series. It's just been so well received and well loved, and so many of y'all have that grinder. But there's so many different versions of it. I'm trying to figure out which one I should get for me because I am not getting a discount. I'm spending my whole card cash. This is not some paid review, guys. And just to let you know, every now and then I do have one of the brands reach out, send me something for review. That's not a paid thing. It is never a paid thing. I'm happy when I get that opportunity because I don't have to buy the gear. So I really appreciate that. But the DF ones, they're on such demand. Everyone wants them. So espresso outlet right now, a lot of times they're like in pre-order, and that's kind of the situation I'd definitely be in. So anyway, oh cool, Will, I'm reading your comment there. So you just ordered the Charter 64 101 ship. Oh, that's a good price, man. Oh wow. So the burrs I have in there, okay, the burrs I have in this puppy are generic, and I say generic because I don't want to ever tell anybody otherwise. I'm laughing because it's kind of it. I don't want to say it's janky. My wife says it's janky when I say this stuff, but they are generic multi-purpose burrs. So they are not SSP burrs. Okay. I always say this. I am an espresso geek, not necessarily espresso snob, because I definitely cannot afford to be, and that's kind of the deal here. So these are the titanium coated. They're basically clones or generic. That's the best way to put it. You could find these on Ollie. You could find them on Amazon. They are about $50. I have links in some other videos. Maybe I could pop a link in there. I'm always going to say this disclaimer. SSP is worth everything to buy it, guys. And honestly, if I had the money at the time, I'd probably buy a used SSP, or I would have just bought SSPs. If you want to make sure you're getting good quality, I'm never going to tell you just go buy a knockoff thing. But I'm also going to be real with y'all. I cannot afford that. And maybe one day that will be the case. I hope so. I'd like to really try the real SSPs. But so far, I'm going to tell you, I've had some amazing results. I really love using this, and even these generic burrs have just been really amazing. I do pour over. I do espresso. My son and I have a ratio pour over system in the kitchen. We probably use that 4 or 5 times a day between the two of us. And then we do V60s sometimes, and of course, Chemex and all that too. But yeah, I love it. So this thing can do everything. Enough of that. It's a great grinder. I don't say that lightly. But, when you hear folks talk about grinders, the DF series really is the standard bearer. So, and there's a big part of me that's really thought about getting the 64 just because that's kind of like the ultimate budget DF grinder. So we'll see. We'll see what the pocketbook allows me to in the moment, because that's what it's all about, y'all. The pocketbook. All right, so let's go ahead. I went ahead and made this finer, but not by much. So I went about 1.5 spots above where I first started, and then right now I went about 1 spot down. Oh, There we go. Awesome. So let's see where we're at. See where we land. I have a feeling this is the sweet spot. Okay. So let's go ahead and get everything cleaned up. I had someone who is a professional barista watch one of my review videos. I think it was on this model here, and they wrote to me, and it was very kind. I got a kick out of it. They're like, yeah, for how long it takes you to do that prep, you would never be able to make coffee in a commercial setting. And guys, that is the truth. I think there's some truth to that. Now, I have obviously worked in a cafe. I have made coffee. I love that. Of course, I did it when I was younger. Maybe I had a little bit of a faster way of doing it. Maybe it's because I'm an old dude now. Hey, for all of you that like to look at the puck, there's the puck. That was the fresh one. And then this was the last one. But yeah, I mean, I get it. That's kind of the difference between being a home hobbyist, especially if you're just getting into coffee for the first time, you've never worked in a cafe. You know what? I'm going to tell you, don't rush it, because you don't have that customer who is late to work, who's really just wanting their coffee and deserving it so because they're the customer. I get it. I get it. So that there is a big difference. There's a big difference between workflow that you do in a cafe and workflow, and maybe I'm wrong, that you do at home. I fuss about what I'm doing. That's part of it. I like to think about it. I like to kind of think about technique. I'm not saying I make the best cup of coffee in the world. I'm just saying I like to think. And as I'm talking, I just realized I didn't do the most important thing. Listen to me. Listen to me going on. But yeah, I kind of cracked up because I was thinking, yeah, dude, obviously. But it was still, it was a good point. Okay. There we go. Definitely valid. All right, guys. Again, the distributor. It's awesome. This thing just collides. Okay. There we go. Grab the puck screen. Put it right up top. There we go. All right, moment of truth here. Let's pull this shot. Okay. Let's get this shot pulled. I'm going to put my other shot on the side just to kind of do a little comparison. Okay. I use my phone to do this, guys, and sometimes I get a call in the middle of being live. Yeah, I don't have like the big YouTube studio. This is my work at home office. Y'all are on my phone. All right, let's give this a try. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, definitely looks pretty good. But yeah, that came out still way too fast. And guys, this is sometimes a thing here. Sometimes you go too fine and then you back it off, and you're just trying to find that sweet spot. Yeah, not a lot of crema. But I guarantee the TDS is going to be higher because, y'all, I didn't stop it early enough. So I really love, okay, this is a 10.59. And I'm telling you, it's because I let the water go for too long. I really love the owl. Okay. The volumetrics, you could set the volumetrics. I have not set the volumetrics on my owl, and I probably should. That's my own fault. I swap out my machines quite often, so I usually go into manual mode. But when you go into manual mode, of course, you're not always going to catch it fast enough, like it just happened to me. So that's something to kind of think about. I would recommend if you get the owl, change your volumetrics because I think the pour is way too heavy. If you go with, let's say, a 2 or even a 1, so just make sure you're aware of that. All right, cheers. Let's go ahead and give this one a try here. Not bad. Again, this is a lot like the other shot. The key is to get something in the middle. It's all about that ratio. And again, the other thing I'm going to kind of say, guys, it's all coffee is coffee to taste. It's kind of like, you read the recipes and they say salt to taste. Here's that the second shot. Yeah, I could tell a difference. This one's a little more sour. This one is not as much. It doesn't have that same higher acidity level, but it still went real fast. Coffee is all about what is good for you. And the one thing I'm always going to encourage everybody is don't get caught up in the trend. And I say that, I almost like want to be like, dude, talk to yourself. I like getting the gear. And yes, some gear can be very gimmicky. Okay. If you start watching social media, if you're on Instagram like I am, sometimes you'll see palm tampers in your feed constantly. And you're like, wow, everyone's using a palm tamper. Or sometimes you'll see this certain trend or that type of trend. And that's okay. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is this is more about like recipes. I think it's a good idea to have a good base. But I always am just kind of the opinion, make coffee the way you like coffee. And I think that's kind of the thing that I kind of really appreciate with someone like Lance and even James Hoffman, and I love watching people like Han when they make coffee because everyone's taste is a little bit different. And I've had my favorite way to make coffee, and and I've said this before, some people, they think it's cringy. I love a spro over. Earlier, I said this was my first espresso because earlier on this machine in the morning, I made coffee, but I got 20 grams. I did it coarse. I pushed it through here. I added water. I did like at least 100 grams of water. It was more like a mocha pot. And I had a meeting. I had to get to it quick and I needed a lot of caffeine. In the early morning, some folks, they have they have an Americano or a long black, and that is their preferred way to use their espresso machine. I think that the biggest thing is never get caught up in your head like there's only one way to do it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I just recently saw a basket that I've never seen before, and it was like elongated, and it was to make pour over style coffee on your espresso machine. And I've never seen that before. And I'm actually tempted to get it just to try it because it wasn't too expensive. But there's tons of interesting things. I've seen baskets before back in the day. A friend of mine had a basket where you could put tea in it. How weird is that? But hey, it's just cool. We have a big array of cool stuff you could get into when it comes to coffee. So what I'm saying is don't let anyone tell you your way's the bad way. Just make coffee for you and enjoy it. You guys, thanks so much. If you didn't hear me earlier, I've reached 6,000 subscribers. I want to say a big thank you to anyone who's subscribed. And if you haven't yet, if you're a coffee geek, hit that subscribe button. My whole goal, I started this channel, I think about a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that, was really just to get myself back into making coffee at home and doing it on a budget. And y'all, I really appreciate hanging with me on my journey. And the most important thing I love is when y'all follow me on Instagram and you chat with me and send me pictures of what you're doing. Or if I post something, kind of give me some advice on how to do it. Or you leave a comment below, just basically, tell me how your setup is. Because that's the coolest thing. You know, a lot of times I would obsess about making coffee, and sometimes you're like, am I the only person that obsesses about this? No, answer is definitely not. And I got about 6,000 friends that say otherwise. So I definitely appreciate y'all so much. It really does mean a lot to me so much because on my day-to-day job, this is my getaway. So hanging out with y'all is my getaway. And I truly mean it. Thank you so much for hanging with me. Thank you for obsessing for coffee with me. And always feel free to give me a shout out, send me a message, DM me, follow me on Instagram, say what's up, because you guys are awesome. I definitely appreciate you. Have a great day.